Hey guys, my name is Mariah and I am a worship leader at Three Circles Fairhope campus and have had the opportunity and really the privilege to be able to come and worship with all of you at Young Adults on occasion and can truly say I absolutely love it. I love seeing you guys go after God in worship and just really seek Him and His heart in everything that you're doing there. I think it's incredible. And today, Pastor Jordan had asked me to share a little bit about the tradition of Christmas carols, staying in the vein of worship and also traditions that we're talking about for this Christmas season. And so I'm going to go ahead and dive right in. I truly love Christmas. I know it's a cliche thing, like to say that you love Christmas, but I go all out for Christmas. And Christmas music, in particular for me, I think most Christmas music, if it's a little bit older or dated, can almost be considered a Christmas carol at this point. Most of what we hear on the radio, except for, modern releases. And even in my mind, a lot of modern things just translate to Christmas carols. But Christmas music in general is, for me, like the first little snippet of the Christmas season. So our family starts listening to Christmas music the week before Thanksgiving. I know that's pushing it for some people, but just to extend it a little bit longer. We don't have decorations out yet, but Christmas music, that's the first thing that we're doing to kind of acknowledge the season. And, I can remember as a kid even going Christmas caroling. I don't know if any of you have ever truly been caroling, but my mom was the mom. She would get me, my sister, my brothers, several friends as well, and we would go to people's houses that we knew and Christmas carol. And that's truly a core memory for me for Christmas season, is doing that because the people loved it. The people's houses that we would go to, they absolutely adored it. They would sing along. And I want that point to kind of transition into what I wanted to talk to you about today, which is the fact that I really think because of the Christmas season, because people who aren't Christians still celebrate Christmas, I think Christmas is a very specific, small time of year where hearts are maybe a little bit softer to hearing the gospel and to hearing the Christmas story. And people will say it's Christmas spirit, but I truly think God makes people's hearts softer as they are listening to and maybe even singing very rich theological truths about Jesus without even realizing or acknowledging it. And that's something that our staff team talks about every single year. Our worship staff team, it comes up. I probably am the one that bring it up half the time because it's very interesting to me that you'll hear secular worship artists who maybe have never said a word about God, but who are covering "O Holy Night." You'll hear it in secular stores. You'll hear songs about Jesus and the babe in the manger in stores that don't profess or proclaim to have like a Christian philosophy. And that's very, very interesting to me, but it makes me very aware that you've got people that it's on the radio, it's on Spotify and Apple Music playlists. People who aren't Christians are absolutely listening to Christian songs about Jesus for 4 to 6 weeks a year during this very small chunk of time. And so I think Christmas carols, Christian Christmas carols specifically, very much lend to the softening of people's hearts. I think they're very useful in that way and that God uses them in that way. And so I was doing a bunch of history on Christmas carols as I was preparing to share with you guys about this. And an interesting fact that I came across is that carols were actually first pre-Christian pagan songs. And you may know that Christmas in general, there's all of this talk every year, I feel like, among the Christian world of like, is Christmas pagan or this, that, and the other? And, Christmas is just the universally decided date to recognize and celebrate Christ's birth. And it's something else to other people. Again, people that don't believe celebrate Christmas and they celebrate it without acknowledging Jesus, even though they really are in other ways, that's just the way God works to me, which is so cool. Early Christians are the ones who started writing and singing Christian songs for Christmas and kind of making it into something else. And most carols that we sing now weren't written prior to the Victorian period in history. So most carols that we sing now are not the early church Christian carols but they were singing them. They were singing, and for them, it wasn't what it is for us now. It wasn't this holiday. It wasn't this tradition necessarily. It was just that they were singing songs about Christ's birth, and that's kind of how it's translated to us over hundreds of years. Interestingly, my favorite fact that I found as I was preparing to share with you was that the word carol actually means dance or a song of praise and joy. And this is kind of where I want to stay for the remainder of my time sharing with you, is that carols are really Christian hymns that are about Christ's birth specifically, in the same way that a lot of songs we sing on Easter are specifically about a time in history. It's the time when Jesus was crucified and resurrected. But these songs are just Christian songs, and they've become a part of tradition for many different people. But carol means dance or praise. And back to that point, carol means dance or a song of praise and joy. And what's interesting to me, I wanted to share this with you just objectively as a worship leader, as someone who kind of sees how a lot of people worship on a Sunday morning. When we enter the Christmas season, interestingly, I notice that people are a lot less enthusiastic in the way that they worship when we sing Christmas songs. I'm not saying this is applicable to everyone. It's just like kind of an overarching thing that I see every year. Every year we bring it up, like it's very interesting. But I'm guilty of it too, honestly. I think the tendency, at least, and I'll just share from my perspective, is that we kind of get in the mindset, it's like, I've known the words to this song since I was 3. You kind of sing it on autopilot, and you don't think about what you're singing. And also, I think there's the reality that a lot of times Christmas carols, aside from maybe O Holy Night, don't evict or conjure up like an emotional response, because a lot of them are sung in a more traditional hymn format. But what I really want to dig down deep into with you today, and just encourage you for the remainder of the Christmas season, is the fact that worship in any form is commanded in the Bible. It's not an emotional response. It can definitely include one, but it's not specifically an emotional response. Emotion or not, we're called with a directive to worship God in many different forms, in raising of hands, in singing. I love the book that is about, just in case you just want to have something to read, I love the book that's about the Hebrew words for worship, and it's all the different ways that we're commanded to worship God in the Bible. So some of that is truly falling on your knees. And I was thinking about this past Sunday as we were leading in worship, as we're singing Joy to the World, and not everyone looks super joyful or even, excited to be worshiping. And again, I am just as equally guilty of that. But it's helped me to change my perspective. Doing this research itself has helped me to change my perspective on how I should worship through Christmas music. And I hope that it will at least make you think differently. Everyone worships differently. Just because you aren't super exuberant doesn't mean that your heart isn't truly in worship. But I just want us to align the same with Christmas carols as we do with gratitude or Jireh or something that's more modern. Like, our hearts should be aligned in both of those, because there aren't many songs when you compare it with an O Holy Night, with a Silent Night, even with like an Away in a Manger. When you compare a lot of current songs, Christmas carols are speaking so much truth, so much straight scripture and theology. And I think it's just important that we remember that. So I just hope to be able to encourage you in that today. We've still got one more Sunday left, and we've got Christmas Eve. Most people, even if you don't attend Three Circle, have a Christmas Eve gathering that you go to. And I just want to encourage you to just change your perspective, tweak your perspective a little bit in how you're looking at Christmas carols this year.